Porters, welcome back to my channel. We need to talk about Love is Blind Season 4 star Marshall's biggest red flag. Newsflash, you guys, he is not as mature as y'all think. Stop. Why are you booing me? I'm right. I am going to walk you through exactly why that is in this video, so keep posted. Listen, while watching the show from the very beginning, I'd been wondering why an elegant, classy man would go for a woman like Jackie. Listen, Jackie from the jump has always represented herself as kind of more of like a somewhat ratchet kind of girl, kind of, you know what I mean? And she even kind of insulted him in her pet names for him. She called him her Tonto, and she directly translated that for herself, claiming that it meant her dumbass. And so I wondered, Marshall, this doesn't align with who you are. So why would you go for this? She talks about how she likes hood dudes and whatnot. But then it all clicked for me when he accidentally let his true feelings show in an argument with Jackie when he called her a project. Yes, Marshall tried to explain away the comment as a slip of the tongue, but when he later spoke to Brett about how he always dates girls who are unstable and not used to being treated, unstable and used to be treating like crap, it only cemented that he meant what he said when he called Jackie a project. Okay. Marshall, you guys, I'm sorry, but he's the type of guy who's not ready to see his own flaws or even admit to having them. And that's why he pairs himself with women whose red flags everyone else can spot from a mile away. If we're all too busy picking these women apart and pointing out their very obvious red flags, we have no time to take a closer look at Marshall and his shortcomings and his, more subtle red flags. He gets to hide behind these women's problems and play the nice guy and the victim who just can't seem to catch a break in love. Logically speaking, a healthy, well-adjusted person from Marshall's background wouldn't consistently be choosing to partner up with these unstable women. If Marshall were truly healthy, he'd have been repelled by Jackie in the pods. It was obvious from the beginning that she would be a project to work on in order to get her to let go of her toxic mindset surrounding masculinity, love, and relationships. If he were healthy, he'd have known that choosing her to marry in such a short amount of time would be too big of a gamble because her biases are so deeply ingrained, and that it would be wiser to opt to marry someone who is already in alignment with his values and modern take and embodiment of masculinity, or risk harming himself, right? If he didn't get with someone who already had these similar values, a healthy person would have known that they would risk harming themselves by pairing off with somebody who has very outdated and pretty much sexist views of his manhood and whatnot. But here's the thing, you guys like Marshall, at the end of the day, need you to be a mess so that he can feel good about saving you from yourself. They have to feel like they know what's best for you, a hint of which we saw when he forced Jackie to wear his jacket at Chelsea's birthday party when she didn't want to, and how he always follows Jackie in wherever she's going into the next room every time she's breaking down and asking for space and a moment to recompose herself. I truly think that this guy low-key suffers from what I like to call a savior complex. I think the official word for this is savior syndrome, but I prefer savior complex. So in this kind of like complex or whatever, those types of people get off on sacrificing their own happiness and well-being for their partner so that they can go back and play victim about it to really kind of martyr themselves at the end of the day. We see Marshall currently doing that in his relationship with Jackie, where he cooks her breakfast and uplifts her while she degrades him. Again, with the names like Tonto, you need to boss up, you're not a man, this, that, and the other. He's also admitted to this being his typical relationship when he told Brett about how he's always saving these poor, helpless women who've never seen nice things, never experienced a man treating them well, never experienced a man cooking for them in relationships. These women attract Marshall for a reason, you guys. I'm not saying he's a bad person, but I'm saying there is a pattern in the types of women that he is willingly choosing to pair off with. Does having a savior complex make does seemingly having a same savior complex make Marshall a bad guy or a bad partner? No, not necessarily, but it makes him a perpetual victim slash nice guy in all of his relationships, which is something that is subconsciously fulfilling and empowering to people who have this sort of a complex. Being able to say that he was this amazing guy who did all of these great things for all of these horrible women who didn't deserve him is almost like a badge of honor, it seems like, right? Again, I'm the first guy to do this and that for any women I've ever been with. I'm sorry, but ask yourself why these are the types of women that you are going off with. There are many healthy, well-adjusted women out there, yet you're bypassing them to go for these women. Sorry, I need to try and figure out why that is, right? It says to me, savior complex. But I digress. So listen, again, there aren't many men like me in the world, or else all these women would have experienced these things. They wouldn't be coming to me broken, projects for me to fix and whatnot. Pairing with an emotionally stable woman who has the same outlook on life is a threat to the carefully crafted image of the hero boyfriend that Marshall has spent years cultivating. It would be too boring in that there are manic highs and lows that we see him experience with Jackie in such a short amount of time. And I think that that's why he prefers the Jackies of the world. Like, it's exciting, it's exhilarating, all these highs and lows. Again, pairing off with a healthy, happy woman would also be terrifying to Marshall, in my opinion, in that he'd have to eventually face some of his own demons and insecurities in a healthy relationship where these complexes are naturally challenged and triggered. Because Marshall has spent so long with erratic and unstable women, I'm not sure that he's equipped or knows what it takes to be in a real relationship that stands a chance of going the distance, right? I think he's only had experience with these kind of short, passionate, explosive kind of relationships. Yeah, so I think he needs to spend some more time working that out. Does that mean that it's impossible for him to eventually find a nice, well adjusted girl to settle down with? No, it just means that he has to want to find her more than he wants to be a hero. And to be honest with you guys, I'm not sure that that's something he's ready for. I just don't see it yet. I think that that ultimately is his biggest red flag. The need to be a hero in his relationships, the need to take on these girls who very obviously have no business being in relationships. They need to be at the therapist's office. They need to be working on themselves a little bit more before they involve other people in all of their melodramatics and whatnot. You and I, we all were able to see Jackie's red flags from a mile away. Remember, I did a first look video when they dropped the bios of these people. I hadn't heard anyone speak or anything like that. I just read what they wrote about themselves in a sentence or two. Jackie said something about how like people, who dislike her because she's loud and like has like this attitude or something. And I'm like, well, that's a freaking red flag. So if I saw that without even listening to this girl say these things, you guys all saw her red flags from a mile away. Why couldn't Marshall? Or did Marshall see them and keep going forward because she fit into the box of exactly what it is that he has always been looking for in all of his relationships? Admittedly, a project, a broken bird looking for someone to save her. Or you know what? Maybe she wasn't even looking for someone to save her. I don't even think so. But that he felt would need him to save her. I don't know, you guys. Marshall, I love you, and I've been writing for him since the very beginning. But when he said that project comment, it all kind of clicked for me. And I'm wondering if any of you guys feel the same way. Let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. And as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.